This one is for my siblings. Mary D. Harris Hayes, Louis Darrow Gregory, Luther Dean Gregory, Melissa Lisa Burris. You guys are all I have ever wanted for Christmas. Love you all. The Great Pretender. By Kennedy Brown. Prologue. And I were soon to be married and with a new home to bring our little one. In fact, the reason I smile these days are due to the anticipation of becoming a mommy. I just wish Darrick would be happier than he has been lately. But I was not going to press the issues which I confided in two sisters, Toddy LaTondra, who is 2 years younger, and Leah, who is 4 years older than I am. They have been feeling a certain type of way about Darrick lately, and they were not alone in this conception. Now as I drive home with my Bluetooth in my ear on three-way call with them. Mari, you know Darrick is not spending enough time at home or with you. Damn that basketball team. They are all scrubs anyway, including Darius. Toddy scoffed. Toddy, I just want this marriage and this family to work out. We were products of a two-parent home, and trust it had a positive effect on us. And I still don't appreciate him messing up Thanksgiving for everyone but being on that damn cell phone all day. Sis. He is not true. Leah added. I knew they were telling the truth, and as I reflect back to a week ago when one of the teachers, Chelsea Dawkins, smiling, I knew then and there. This chick is what has been affecting Darrick. She had a sneaky way about her, and Darrick was going to have to switch offices, but when I brought up the subject and his behavior of late was truly suspect. For instance, I have been introduced many of the teachers and staff at Greer Middle School, except Chelsea, and that made my antenna go off radar. But the incident in which my sisters are referring to was last week's Thanksgiving dinner in Boiling Springs at my parents' home. He was constantly on his cell phone. And after dinner, as we were all having a good time, when Darrick pops up and says, I need to run by and holla at one of my college buddies. I will be back in a bit. While you are at it, could you make a plate for me and put it up until I get back? He asked, now faking being content. He rubbed my belly. My sister Leah and her husband Camden have never warmed up to Darrick the way my parents and Toddy did, but looking at Toddy, she had began to have none too kind opinions of Darrick. She spoke up. You supposed to be family, not company. So you can fix your own leftover plate. Mari is pregnant, and Leah only fixes her husband and kids' plates. My mom only fixes my dad's plate. As for me, I am not fixing you a damn thing. My dad tried to break the ice. You better hurry up and fix that plate, Darrick. Because I ain't saving a damn tang. We all had a good laugh, but of course I got up to make his for him to eat. Later that night I heard somebody say, you are a punk. Then came laughter as I realized it was my mom who had said it. Later that night I cried myself to sleep. Darrick had left at 7:30 p.m. and it was 4:15 a.m. before he came into my childhood bedroom, where he and I were sleeping in during the visit. Later, as he slept, his phone, which had been sending me straight to voicemail all night, flashed with a text notification, and he was loudly snoring, smelling like the familiar scent of an exotic perfume, the perfume that always emanated whenever he had to work overdue to a teacher's conference. But being that we were out of town, I knew it wasn't anyone in town who would come here, just to have a rendezvous with a man who is not only spoken for, but was celebrating his holiday with his future wife, who was carrying their first child. Who would do such a thirsty thing? So I put it out of my mind, and tried to enjoy the remainder of the holiday. Darrick must have come to his senses, because he was joined to me at the hip the rest of our stay, as if he was finally realizing that I didn't deserve his recent standoffish behavior, as if he was actually afraid of losing me. I didn't know what his little run consisted of to make him finally appreciate me. Toddy was still yakking when she yells, tell his dumb ass I am on the phone with her, and she is on her way home. Both Leah and I were still on three-way. Toddy said. Darrick called Mama saying, he can't reach you, and phone kept going to voicemail. I guess because we are on three-way. I laughed. Okay, twisted sisters, let me see what my man wants. Love you. They both said their goodbyes, but expected to hear from me as soon as I got home, which is a daily ritual for not just my sisters and me, but my parents and my BFF Big Mouth Michelle. I tried Darrick twice before he answered. Hey babe. Gotta stop by and pick up some paperwork from Chelsea. I didn't want to hear it. Well, in that case, see you when I see you. I feel a role reversal, like I am the side chick. Mari. There is nothing with Chelsea and me. Just go home, I will be there shortly. He seemed nervous. Then he said, I don't want anyone else but you. I love you, ShaMari. I smiled at his A+4 effort, and said, I love you too. See you at home. I stepped out of the car as the garage door was up, so I turned to get my things, and I heard someone walk up behind me. I turned, and my blood turned cold at the figure who stood before me with a .38 pistol. All I could think of was giving the person everything in my purse, but soon I felt a hot pellet going into my upper calf muscle. I fell to the ground in pain. "Oh God, please, my baby," I said as another bullet struck me in my buttocks as I rolled over trying to shield my baby. I had to drag myself out of this garage. My baby's life depended on it. After Darrick putting me through so much lately, my baby was all that mattered to me. I could die, but my baby was my only care in this moment. The person then kicked me in my back. I begged, "Please take anything you want, but please let me have my baby." It fell upon deaf ears as the gun fired once again into my stomach. My baby? I no longer cared. My reason for living was gone. One final shot to my head, and she had won. I smelled the faint scent of the perfume which always permeated off Darrick whenever he stayed late at the school. I no longer cared if I lived or died. So I told God me and my baby are ready. I closed my eyes. As the past 2 years faded to black. Chelsea. Good girls get gifts for Christmas. Bad girls get gifts every day. I am going to be real with you. I am spoiled by my parents who adopted me from a relative who already had 7 kids by 7 different men and 3 different races. So I have a biological sibling, Reggie, whose dad is white, my youngest brother Emilio, whose dad is Asian, and my sister Inez, whose dad is Greek. As for me, the only names I care about on my birth certificate are mine, and my parents Timothy Charles and Regina Ruth Dawkins are the only parents I know. Of course I knew my biological mom, but not my dad. Which gave my mother, Tricia, something in common. I never knew who he was, and wish I didn't know her. My life has always been that of grace, ability, and achievement. I hold many pageant trophies, trained at the best internship programs. Of course, this came at a price of expectations. My parents expected me to excel at everything I did, and I usually met every challenge with a success. But as most of my people are quick to label you as the spoiled brat that was gonna someday knock my uppity parents off their throne. And until now, becoming pregnant at 17 was a blow to my parents. But they consoled me, and after a talk with my boyfriend, Trent, it was decided by my parents that Trent and I would be married before I began to show. What I neglected to show is my parents how I was deleted as Trent's girlfriend when I first told him of the pregnancy. However, a day before the wedding, Trent along with our parents got together to discuss wedding plans, but as far as Trent Sr. and Sheila Robinson, there were no plans to discuss. At least any that would prove positive for me. Trent Sr., after telling my mom and me how good we looked, when Sheila spoke up, baby daddy slouched down. "Listen, Chelsea. Trent is willing to support the baby, but he is not ready to get married," Sheila said. I sat there ready to snatch her bald, but Mom had my back. "Sheila, are you and your husband really are not thinking of buying off every girl Trent knocks up and disgraces?" "Not even saying that, Regina. But you know Trent and Chelsea have been broken up. This is spite." "Spite? What spite?" "Leaving a pregnant woman who is carrying your baby kind of spite." Trent stood up and said, "I can't marry you, Chelsea. Having a wife and child would only become a liability in the long run. I will break off cash to help, but I am not ready now. And don't know if I ever will be." At that moment my dad walked up to Trent and stared coldly into his eyes. And to everyone's surprise, my dad laughed. "Regina, you were right. This dude is gay." My mom began laughing and said, "Damn it, Tim. Didn't I say that straight off? You can leave now and take your mother of a sissy with you." She didn't refer to his dad because Trent Sr. had left the room choking back laughter. Long story short, that day, Trent and I went our separate ways. I gave birth to Cadence. Trent married his soulmate, Rico. I should have known he was too handsome to be single and too inexperienced in bed to be married. But now as I sit here, reliving that horrible day as if it were, I know I went too far this time. Same shit, same pent-up rage inside. I was so mad. All I could see was that the next guy who stole my heart and pissed on it. I moved on and met new people, and a new lover who would bring my world into a triangle of lies and betrayal, all for nothing. But the love of a man, the wrong man. If I had to do it all again, I would. Now as I sit alone in my dark apartment, I call my mother to check on her, Pops, and my little man Cadence, who was overjoyed to know that soon he would be with me, and would have a little brother or sister soon, as well as a new daddy, Darrick. But sadly after a month I had to let my parents and son know it was a false alarm, when in actuality Darrick had finance and drove me to the abortion of our child. I had begged and begged. But he had only laughed in my face. Darrick, how do you expect me to kill our baby? I have found a house close to the school. Soon Cadence can come. Darrick stopped me mid-sentence. I am not gonna play daddy to another man's child. And as this baby, I already have a baby on the way with ShaMari, the woman I am marrying in 2 months. He spat. Darrick, you don't love her. And you know it. I love you. You don't want me to have this baby? Fine. At least I have Cadence, but if you want me to not bring him out here, then fine. All I want is for you to leave her. He looked at me with such distaste. I could have died. Okay, Darrick, let's go. He grabbed my hand, and we walked into the abortion clinic. A part of me died literally. Now a part of him must die too. I had been talking on the phone with my mom when the phone beeped. I told Mom to hold on. Darrick was on the other line. She no longer liked him after he put me through so much. I clicked over, and all I heard was the guttural agony of Darrick half screaming and crying, "Babe, help me. Something has happened to ShaMari." What to do, babe? Hold on, Darrick. Mama. It's Darrick. Oh God. He said something happened. My mom said, "Don't take your ass nowhere near that trifling dog. That is what MS is for." She was correct. And I never clicked back over to Darrick.